Hi, KP. Hi, Jessie. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having us.
Yes, I did already introduce you just a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear from you. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you serve?
I'm KP. I'm the founder of Inkpot Creative, which is a brand and web design studio building impactful and unconventional brands and websites for photographers and just other online creatives too in general. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say about myself. I feel like I'm always so bad at introducing myself, but that's me in a nutshell.
And I am Jessie. I am the web developer here at Inkpot. I also do a lot of the blog writing and just wear a whole bunch of hats and fill in any gaps that we have in the business. But yeah, that's not how I started off or how I saw my journey going, but I'm here and I'm loving it.
Oh, I love this. And so I always like to kick off these conversations by asking about your guys' journey, which is exactly what you're just saying. What has that looked like for you guys, like starting your business up until now?
So we both graduated in 2020, which, as we know, that year was all over the place. There was a lot going on. And I actually, that entire summer, right after I graduated, I applied to 150 different jobs. So I graduated with a degree in graphic design and media arts and also had a minor in English. My dream was to get into publishing. I really wanted to do YA children's publishing and kind of get into the design department there. I'd interned a lot of different publishing houses around Boston in college, since that's where Jessie and I met. We were actually roommates back at college. And that is what I imagined myself doing, but it was so hard to get a job right after all of that happened. And essentially, I ended up actually landing an online internship with a course consultancy agency. And at the end of that internship, the founder was like, "Oh my gosh, KP, you should just start your own business," which was something I hadn't ever thought about. But even looking back on my life, I was like, no, like back in the day, I used to make friendship bracelets when I was in elementary school and I would sell those like at school and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I've probably always had a little bit of the entrepreneur side in me. So I ended up starting a social media management agency way back then. And I really hated it, I'll be honest. The first 6 months, I very quickly realized I love doing my own social media. And like even now, it's one of my favorite parts of business is doing like the marketing. But I did not like doing it for other people. I ended up switching over to graphic design and web design once I realized that website design is very much just like an interactive version of books and book design, which is what I loved, and just layout design. And that's where I found my happy place. So I've been doing that since spring 2021-ish. About another year after that, I was at the point where I was working 15-hour days with how much work I was doing in the business. And one day I just went to Jessie and I was like, okay, either you can totally leave your job and join me if you want, because like I'm at the point where I need help like yesterday, or I'm gonna have to grow my team in other ways and find help from somewhere else. And that's like when Jessie joined me. So I'll kind of let Jessie take it from here.
Yeah, so I came out of college with a degree in psychology. I do have a double minor in media arts and graphic design because I wanted to take classes with KP and thought it would be fun. And so I was just like, you know what? I'll just take all of the classes that you need for your major, and ended up getting a minor in it. Honestly, my goal was to go back to school, get my PhD, become a psychologist. That's what I've wanted to do for a long time. But after that last semester of senior year and being online and everything just being turned up on its head, I was like, I am schooled out right now. I cannot go back to school right now. This is the last thing that I want to do. So I ended up looking for jobs and I found a remote customer service job, and it was okay. It got me through the first little bit of graduating, and I slowly got to the point where I was like, I'm not having fun with it. This isn't what I want to do. I don't love this. I'm just exhausted every day because I'm doing something I don't love. And at that point, KP was like, I need help. And I was like, I feel like it can't be any worse than this. So I'm going to try it and see how it is. And I didn't really have that much of a starting point besides the stuff that I had taken in college. I picked up web design on my own. I went online, I Googled things, I watched YouTube videos. I just went across the board and taught myself how to do all of the development, the blog writing, everything like that. And like sprung from there. Now I can't really imagine doing anything else. I can't imagine like working for another business or going back to a corporate world again. This is absolutely what I want to be doing. So it was a good kind of timing for KP needing help and me being done with the job that I was in and wanting to try something different.
Oh, wow. I love that. That's so fun to like be on this journey together. I don't know. Okay, so I'm one of those people, I like my alone time. And then I also really like to connect with people and stuff, which is why the podcast is so nice, right? Because I do get to still have conversations with real humans instead of just my dogs. But it can get really lonely, like doing entrepreneurship and trying to make all these decisions by yourself. And then, especially, I totally know that feeling, KP, where you're like, I needed help like yesterday. And then you have these people. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Would I love to have my husband join me in my business? Yes. And have we discussed it? Yes. But would it work out? Probably not at this point. I don't know. So I feel like sometimes growing a business with someone is just so nice. And also, there's probably definitely challenges you have to work through. Like, what has that looked like for you guys working together in that way?
Honestly, I think we lucked out because we were on a lacrosse team too. All through college, we played D3 lacrosse together.
Oh,
So like we were
yeah.
pretty used to like being in high pressure environments because we both played defense together too. So like we were often like pretty much knowing exactly what the other person had to be doing at all times. And I think a lot of things we learned from sports has really carried over to like our day-to-day work life. So we've gotten like very used to just like even like handling each other, knowing what the other person like needs at certain times, like if things are ever getting really busy and everything like that. And plus, we're also super collaborative. So if someone really needs help, we're really able to jump in and help the other person. Unless it's design, then I tend to do all of the design. But other than that, it's really like a lot of what we've learned in sports has really helped us.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And that's so interesting. And it probably really is about exactly like you've already experienced similar situations where communication is necessary. We're feeling each other's energy and maybe being able to give each other instruction and direction or say, this is what I need right now. Like that. Oh man, I love that so much. That's so interesting. Okay. This might be a weird question, but it popped up for me. Like, I know I have learned so many lessons in entrepreneurship, especially when it comes to like, setting boundaries, understanding my own energy, like client communication, like all the different stuff. Do you guys feel like you are learning these lessons together or at separate times, or you're helping each other through lessons like KP, maybe you already learned in your first few years without Jessie and stuff, or?
I think there's definitely some things that I was a little behind with KP, and she learned some things in the first year or two of doing things on her own and figuring out how to handle everyone and how to handle different situations and what needs to be done and when boundaries like really need to be upheld and when you can be like flexible. But I think over the past, it's been a little over 2 years now, I think I've had a chance to learn a lot of those same things. And I think as the business itself has started to grow, we've been in these situations where we both are like, I don't know what to do with this next step. We just learning together. So I think there was a little bit of me almost playing catch up to KP and really getting a better understanding of what she was going through beforehand and like what it actually entails, like doing your own thing and being out on your own. Because I think there's a point where like people can relate to you running your own business when they're not doing it. But then when they're in it, you're like, oh, like you never actually stop thinking about work. Like you're always doing stuff. There's always something more that can be done. And I don't think you fully grasp that until you're like in it yourself. So I think that part of it, I definitely had a little bit of catching up to do. I think I'm probably at about the same. I think KP and I are at the same level with that now. But I think the good part now is that neither of us have to really do that alone. And we always have someone to lean on and talk with and work things out with. And if we don't know what way to go, we're like, okay, let's sit down, have a conversation, figure out what this is. And then we can each kind of bring like our unique perspectives of what's happened over the past couple of years to the table and figure out what the best path forward is.
I will say because of her like customer service background, like that low key helped so much too. Because I'm the kind of person like the second I receive an email, I like stop what I'm doing. I'm like, I have to answer it now. And then sometimes like I'll have a tendency to accidentally read something in a tone that it definitely wasn't meant, which I'm sure other people can relate to. And Jesse's like, this person's just asking a question. They need help. Still, she's just so good at like the customer service aspect. So she was definitely above me in that aspect when she joined.
Oh my God. I get that so much. That would be so nice for me. And actually, I've trained myself to step away from situations because I'm like, okay, or just tell my husband. And it pisses me off sometimes when he's not on my team. And then I like wait 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, you're right. But yeah, no, I feel that. Oh man, I love it so much. I love like the business that you guys are building together. And like, it just makes me so happy to see that. But I'd love to geek out about websites and blogging a little bit with you guys. So maybe let's start with the website because I know that like websites are one of those things. I feel like the conversation is always changing about websites and it's weird how like polarizing sometimes a website can be, especially with the onslaught of like digital content creators and stuff and they're like, you don't need a website, you just need a Sam store or Stan store. It is. And so let's talk about websites and why they really are important in 2024 going into 2025.
I think when it comes to websites, the power of having that spot that, first of all, you own, because we can look at social media, all that stuff, like realistically, you don't own that at any point. Those social media platforms can just go away. I think everybody saw this kind of, oh my gosh, freak out moment a couple weeks ago, months ago now, I guess, when Instagram went down for half a day. Everyone was like, what do I do now? If Instagram disappears, what do I do? And that's something that's real, and we don't own any of the stuff on there. That can disappear. Your Instagram account can just get deleted permanently by like on their own will. So I think having a space that you own and all of the content is yours is super important. But I also think we have to look at how people are buying things, how they're shopping, what they want to see. And a lot of people nowadays, since there are so many choices, are going to be doing more research on their own before they reach out, before they book anything, before they buy anything, whether it's looking at reviews, looking at pricing, looking at what's included, like whatever that is. And the best place to do that is going to be your website. And that's not only the best place to do that, but that's also the best place where you can show your standout factor. There's only so much you can put on social media. There's only so much you can put on all these other platforms. But on your website, you can just lay everything out on there. You can be like, look, here's who I work with. Here's what I do. Here's the service you can book or the product. Here's why you need it and why it's different from all of this and why it might be the best option for you. And I think if you're ignoring that and are like, it doesn't really matter, I can just be on Instagram or something and people will find me, like they might find you, but they're going to connect with you so much better if they can actually learn more information about you, about what they're looking for, get answers to the questions that they have. All of that stuff is going to be really vital. And all of that is going to be done on your website.
Yeah. Oh man, agree with that too. Like seeing kind of the way the culture is going, definitely with the onslaught of AI tools to make it all easier. Also, 2020 brought on this like wave of digital entrepreneurs, and that's awesome. And then also there's like the faceless marketing, whatever their course is that people with the faceless reels. I'm feeling like there's this distrust of content creators in the online space on social media platforms and whatnot. And just having your website is just so nice to have that home to own your audience, like you said, and to show that you're like legit and also showcase your personality. Like, I loved what you said earlier about what did you say? Your website is basically like a book or something in a different form. Tell us about how you go about writing your website, creating your brand book, if you will, or whatever.
Yeah, so one of our favorite things to talk about is how, like, especially if you're a solopreneur or like you're the face of your brand, it is so important for your personality to be everywhere in your visuals, like from your actual like brand design on like all over your website. And there's so many different ways you can do this. So if you're trying to think of like your website specifically, you can do this by doing like really fun, different like photo bursts. So if you ever see like those really fast, like almost like GIF like photos where like it looks like someone's moving, something like that can be really cool just to show your personality. This can even be just in adding like a simple about you like fun fact section on your about page. People really will look for those connection points. And like you might even notice when someone like hops on a call with you, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, my favorite show is also How I Met Your Mother or something like that. Like they're going to say things like that to you and they're going to connect with you on another level. So there's so many different ways that you can really bring that kind of to the forefront. And then also with your brand, a really great way to actually infuse your personality into it is to try to meld like your own likes with what you would want like your audience to also be like attracted to or what you think they would be attracted to. I know so many people are like, you should build your brand specifically for who you're trying to attract. We're a big believer that it's a combination of both. So trying to think about what your audience would want to see, how you can also break the mold within your industry, and then also combining that with your own personal likes is really going to help you build that personality space.
Oh, yes, I love that. I really love having fun with my website and stuff. I'm one of those designy, nerdy type people. But I also know that with websites especially, it's really hard to walk the line between design and making something look pretty and strategy and making sure that the UX is good and that people are actually understanding what I am and can find the link that they need to click. So, how do you guys navigate that? Or do you have any tips for balancing that?
I think when it comes to that, the biggest mistake that we tend to see is overdoing it to the point where it's overwhelming to look at your website. So if you're looking at a page or you're looking at a section and you don't know what you should be paying attention to, like that's an issue because if you don't know what you're supposed to pay attention to, your visitor isn't going to know what they're supposed to pay attention to. So I think sometimes we try to go a little overboard with it and be like, I want to be really different and out there and bold. And you can do that without making your design feel overwhelming or messy. So we like to add like a lot of pops of color to it, or even small movements of little elements sliding in or text sliding in or something like that catches people's eye, but then everything is there and it's very easy to consume and look at. And I think strategy wise, there's kind of two main things that we pay attention to. One is going to be your like goal of the website. So what you want people to do. So if you're an online service provider, if your business goal, the goal of your website is to get people to reach out to you, get to your contact page, fill out your form, that's probably what most of us want to do. You want to make sure that you have very clearly marked contact buttons. They're everywhere. People can get to them really easily. Because if you want people to fill out your contact form and they cannot find a contact button, they're never going to get to that page. You always want to have call to actions at the bottom of every single page that's either pushing them towards that contact page or another page on the site that can give them more information before they reach out to you. But I think we see the mistake all the time of people not actually having enough buttons, enough links, enough call to actions that are actually furthering their website goal, whatever that might be. So absolutely having that. And then making sure that you're like splitting up your content in a way that's skimmable and easily digestible, because if we think about how people are taking in content now, a lot of people are going to be quickly scanning things. They're going to have specific questions in mind or things that they're looking for that they want to scan, find that information, and move on. So if you have walls of paragraph text on your site, people are just going to go right past it. They're not going to sit there and read things unless they know it's something that they actually want and it's the information they want to know. So we love breaking things up with headings in a different, bigger font and maybe different colors or highlights or underlines or circles or whatever your brand is that can make it out. And then using subheadings to call out other things and breaking paragraphs up into smaller sections. So that way, as people are going through, you're going to get the people that will read every single word on your website. And that's great. They'll get all that information. But you'll also get the people who are like, no, I really just want to know about this one service and I want to scroll to this one service and that's all I want to know the information I need to know and then I want to go to the contact page. And it'll be set up in a way that they can do that as well.
Way
I
to
don't know.
A great way to put this to the test too is to literally just send your website link to a friend or a family member who probably isn't as active in the online space and just see if they get confused anywhere on your site. And then you'll very easily be able to pinpoint, okay, I need to fix that section. Clearly there should be a button here because they were like, why can't I click over to what you're talking about? And that's a really good way to just very quickly see what could use updates right now.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I'm laughing because sometimes I go on friends' websites and I'm like, I wonder if they'd be offended. I said, like, where is your button here? They're using, and so just realizing that people are happy to give you their opinion often too. You're not going to be a burden if you send like your website to someone. They'll be like, oh yeah, I'll tell you my opinion. So don't be afraid for that. But I love that too. And also, I like what you said too about thinking about just looking at your website objectively and being like, where is my eye going first? And if it's not going anywhere, it's too busy. Or like, where is my eye going first? Is it going to this like less important thing over here? Or should I be like more focused over here and breaking it up in that way? It makes so much sense. And think about like the journey of where your eye goes on the page too is so nice. But I loved all of those tips that you guys had to share. Let's talk a little bit about blogging as well, because I think that's the other side of the website coin, where it's like your website can be something that is strategic for your business, but either I think that there's two camps often. It's like people with blogging, they're like, it's not worth it. There's way too many blogs out there. I'm never going to rank on Google. People aren't actually finding me, so they're not even doing it. Or there's the people who are, bless their hearts, like blogging every week, but they don't necessarily know the basics of like how to do the headings and all the different things. So like they're spending a bunch of time creating content that not very many people are seeing. What are some of those tips that you guys love to share when it comes to creating a blog that is actually strategic for your business and stuff?
I love that question. So we love blogging. If you have a website and you're not blogging, we recommend you start like now. Even writing like one post a month is going to get you so ahead. And no matter which camp you're in that you were just talking about, the real thing that's going to get you results is going to be keywords and finding keywords that people are actually searching. So if you're writing a lot of posts and they're not ranking, odds are you're not just double checking to make sure people are actually searching for those things, which don't worry, you can update those posts later. Or if you're like, no one's going to find me at all, if you just find the right keywords, people are going to find you. People are like actively searching for things all the time. If you were wondering what to make for dinner last night and you searched on Google, odds are high you've landed on somebody's blog. So people are reading blogs. Most likely you are too, and you just don't realize it. So when it comes to keywords, there's two different tools out there that we love to recommend. Our personal favorite is KeySearch. This is a paid tool. I think it's like $14 a month if you're on the annual plan, or like $17 if you're on the monthly one. But KeySearch is great. And then the other option is Ubersuggest, which is a free tool if you just do the 5 daily searches a day. But with this, we always recommend, if you're like wondering what to write about, first try to think about the questions you're asked most. Like whenever you're on discovery calls, when you're on Instagram, like what do you get like comments about? What do you get DMs about? And try to write posts about those, because if people are asking you like in your DMs or in your emails or on your calls, odds are high people are searching them too. And of course, just be sure to run it through one of those tools. So on any of those tools, you can just go in and let's say, since we do design, maybe we get asked a lot about Show It versus WordPress. So we can go on to one of these tools. We can just type in Show It versus WordPress. It's going to tell us if it's easy to rank for, if it's hard to rank for, how many searches it's getting, and then we can decide from there if it's worth writing about. And then we'll just want to make sure that keyword is actually throughout the post in certain spots, like in the URL, that it's in the like meta description for the post, that it's in the title, that it's at least sprinkled a few different times like throughout the article and things like that. And that will make all the difference, I promise.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Okay, so I'm gonna look into that paid tool. I've tried using Ubersuggest. Okay, I'll be honest, guys. I'm bad at SEO. I don't know what I'm doing. When I tried to use Ubersuggest, I got a little confused about. Like, it was telling me all these rankings and different numbers, and I'm like, I don't know what this means really, or if this is worth it and stuff. Do you have any just quick suggestions for like how to read the stats?
So I think before you go into actually reading any of the stats, the first thing that we would suggest is figuring out what your domain authority or DA is. This is going to be something that the tools will show you, and it's a really quick way to figure out if a keyword is actually worth it for you to write and if you're going to have a chance of ranking for it easily or if it's going to be really difficult. So there's a bunch of free tools out there that you can use to find your DA. You literally just type in your website URL and it'll tell you it. I think the one that we use most often is website SEOchecker.com, I want to say. But once you have that, when you're on the page, you'll normally see a bunch of things that you don't need to pay attention to. So you'll see some things that are like CPC, and that's like cost per click, and it's a whole bunch of things, ads, that you don't need to worry about that. The few things that you'll want to pay attention to is going to be the volume. So it'll show you a number there. That's going to be the number of monthly searches. So you want to make sure that it's actually being searched monthly. Normally, we'll aim for like 100 for the blog post keywords. Sometimes we don't always get there, or the keywords don't necessarily have that much. When you're starting out, you can maybe start a little lower and try and get to that like 80 range up to 100. Or what you can do is also use alternate keywords. So when KP was talking about Show It versus WordPress, that might be one of the keywords. One of the keywords also might be WordPress versus Show It. So just adjusting the way that you're saying whatever the keyword is can be an alternate keyword that can help boost the overall monthly search for that article. The next thing is going to be the actual difficulty. So a lot of these tools will use a really simple green, yellow, red color scheme to show you how difficult the keyword is to rank for. Generally, you want to aim for the green keywords. KeySearch has a blue option too, and if you find a blue keyword, That's like a gold. If it's actually being searched, blue keywords are amazing, and it means that they're normally really easy to rank for, and you have a great chance of eventually ranking for that keyword. So you want to make sure that you find one that you can normally in the green. If you have a higher DA, you can maybe go for those yellow keywords. They'll also give you a number. It's numbered 0 to 100. So normally green is anywhere from 0 to 30-ish, 35, something like that. So the lower the score, the easier it is to rank for. And then Key Search will also show you a little box that has the top ranking posts on Google for that term. So you can actually see who is ranking for that post. You can see the websites, you can click onto it to actually see their posts, and you can see information on them that can help you decide if you want to write it. So that DA is where this comes in. It'll show you the DA of everyone ranking for that post. Our kind of main suggestion is to have your DA higher than at least 2 of the people. If you do, that means that you have a good chance of potentially ranking for it. However, a weird thing, basically anything between 1 and 20 is the same playing field. So if you have a DA between 1 and 20 and other people who are ranking have 12, 15, 17, and you have a 6, you can still go for it. You can definitely do that. But if you see some posts have really places like Forbes or even like Business Insider or YouTube or Reddit's been popping up a bunch, like those are all going to have very high domain authorities in like the 80s and 90s. So those are going to be a little harder to rank for. And maybe you should see if there's a different way or a longer tail keyword that you can look at. So that volume, the domain authority of everyone else that's ranking, and then the difficulty. The final thing you can look at, at least, I think Ubersuggest shows it too, but Key Search definitely does, will show if the keyword that you're searching for is in the URL of the people who are ranking on that post. So normally we suggest making your URL, it'll be your domain / the keyword itself, like nothing else, just the keyword. So Key Search will actually show you if the keyword is in everyone else's URLs. If it's not, that's great. Put the keyword in there. It can maybe give you that little bit of a boost. But those are the main things that we would pay attention to. A lot of the other stuff has to do with ads and things that you don't really need to pay attention to as you're starting writing your blog.
Oh, I'm so glad I asked that because that was so just helpful and actionable and specific. And I feel like I'm going to go look up my DAs for both of my websites and then I'm going to go down a rabbit hole after this. I know it. And I liked that URL trick too because I do things I'm like, yeah, this seems like a good idea. And then I don't know if they actually not. But for my courses, for example, next week I'm releasing our new course. It's brand blueprint for ChatGPT. So in my website, put brand blueprint for ChatGPT or whatever. Then I also have a forwarded link that's like I forward it and it's just blue because it makes it easier for me to share and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know which one's better. Do you have an opinion on that?
I feel like it can go up in the air. There's a lot of things that we have that the keyword itself or something that people might be searching for is the longer one, but we have it forwarded to a shorter one. I think it's not going to necessarily be like make or break for it, but it can just be that extra little check mark on the list of things that you need to do. Definitely make sure that everything else on the page or the post is optimized and you have the keyword on the page and you have all these other kind of things checked off when it comes to SEO, but it's something that it's not necessarily going to hurt you. So it's never a bad idea to have it.
Oh, okay. One more question because I could talk to you guys forever. And I don't know. Okay, so domain authority, I don't even know this was really a thing, let's be honest. And so I'm going to go look mine up. But for example, I know you said that it seems like 1 to 20 is the lower numbers, whereas Reddit has 80 for their DA and stuff. If you're looking to increase your domain authority, what are some of those things people can do?
So a big part of how this is going to increase over time is going to be, one, the longer you have the domain, the higher it's going to be. So if you started your business a few years ago, odds are high that it's already going to be above 1. Second, the more links back that you actually get to your domain is actually going to show that other websites trust you, which Google's going to see, and that can also increase your domain authority. So like, for instance, being on podcasts, things like that, getting links back to your site. And even if you're like ever featured in like an article or something and you get a link back, that is also going to help boost that number. And then the last one too is honestly, the more content you write, the more you're going to see your domain authority boost. especially as you continue to write about the same exact topics over time. So for instance, on our travel blog that we run, we write a lot about national parks. And we've seen like the more we've honed in onto national park content, our domain authority has grown. And now we're at like 45, but we've had that domain since 2019. We've seen a lot of service provider ones tend to stay around like the 20 to 30 range. Actually, I think we might have one client actually that's at a 40. But if yours is under 20, don't be alarmed. I think ours is like 14, to be honest.
Okay, that makes me feel better. I'm so glad you said that too, because I know there's going to be listeners being like, wait, but mine is not high. And I'm talking about myself here, guys. So of course that's helpful to hear. And then my last question is I'm wondering, okay, so I'm one of those people when it comes to blogging, I will go blog crazy because I've especially been trying to manage building two brands at the same time lately. I'm just like, get stuff out. Like when I'm thinking about it, I do it. And so sometimes I will like publish 4 blogs in one day because I just wrote them. And I'm like, just publish them, whatever. Because I want them then to link back to each other. And then I want all these different things. And then I will not blog for a month or two kind of thing. And it's not consistent. I'm saying I'm creating content. I do create consistent content with like my podcast show notes every week and stuff. So I got that going for me. But like the actual blog. So like how important is consistency, I guess is my question.
I love that you asked this because this is something that we like hear being talked about a lot. Back in the day, like even 5 years ago, it used to be so important to post consistently. Like I used to pre-schedule posts on my travel blog so that I'd have one going out every week. We've seen over the past few years, this doesn't matter at all. If you have the post done, just publish them all in a day. It really doesn't matter at all because the quicker they get out, the sooner they're going to be able to rank. And if you're not super consistent, it's like totally okay. You're still going to be able to reap those benefits from the posts that you do get out.
Oh, you guys like have made my day with all the things you've shared. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Can you please share with everyone how they can connect with you and then also like share about your free resources and anything you've got?
Yes. So you can find us online. Our website is inkpotcreative.com. You can also find us on basically every social media platform at Inkpot Creative. We also have a podcast, the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast, where we talk a lot. This whole season that we just did was all on blogging, and we still have a couple more episodes. So if you want to learn more about blogging, you can absolutely listen to that. We go into detail about all of this stuff. If you want to start your blogging journey, but you're not really sure where to start, we have a freebie that is 123 ideas for blog posts to kind of get you started, either give you exact topics or ones that you can play off of. So you can find that online at inkpotcreative.com/free blog post ideas. And that'll give you a good point to start off from. We do also have an entire masterclass called Blogging for Business that goes over keywords, how to write posts, outlining posts, uploading them, publishing them, repurposing them so that you get the good groundwork to start writing posts in an optimized way, because we definitely didn't do that and wasted a lot of time writing posts that never saw the light of day. If you don't want to do that and you want to actually write posts that people find, that's a great place to start and get a foundation for doing it for yourself. And you can learn more about that one at inkpotcreative.com/blogging for business.
Okay, I'm going to check that out because that sounds like what I. But thank you guys so much. I've loved our conversation and I know my listeners will too.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having us.
Guys.